Hello students, I am Siddharth Arora and together with askIITians, we welcome you in this webinar which we are conducting for class 10th class 10 students who are appearing for board exams for the first time in their schools. I am sure that all the students of class 10th will have number of queries with them because they are appearing for this board exam for the first time. To answer all those queries, we have Mr. Pankaj Singh in studio with us, who did his graduation from Delhi University and followed by masters, and he is a topper of Delhi University. He is very passionate about teaching. From the fact we can say that he has helped hundreds of students in getting 10s CGPA, and he has helped students to crack JEE in last 5 years. So I'm sure that with his valuable tips and techniques and the answers that he will be giving to you people today, you will be able to understand these board exams in a better way, and these exams will become very easy for you in the same way as you give your class test. So Mr. Pankaj Singh, we welcome you in this webinar. Mr. Pankaj, we have so many students with us in today's webinar, and we got so many questions from these students which they posted to us. So I will be asking these questions one by one from you, and I'm sure that your valuable answers will help these students to get answer to their questions and to crack these board exams in an easy way. Starting with the first question, which is from Anurag Jain. His question is that what is the difference between school conducted SA2 board and board conducted SA2 exam?
Actually, this is a very important question, that what is the difference between school conducted SA2 and board conducted SA2 exam. School conducted SA2 exam is for those students who do not wish to move out of the CBSE system after class 10. In this, question paper and marking scheme is to be supplied by the board, and checking of the answer sheet is carried out by school teachers. While in board conducted SA2 exam, it is for those students who wish to move out of the CBSE system after class 10. For example, those who wish to join institutions, schools, junior colleges like Polytechnic, which is affiliated to boards other than CBSE, it is for those students. In this system, question paper and marking scheme is to be prepared by board, and also the checking of answer sheet is to be done by board experts itself. So what is the basic difference is that in school conducted SA2 exam, answer sheets are checked by school teachers, while in board conducted SA2 exam, answer sheets are checked by CBSE board. Both the schemes will have same type of question papers in terms of design, blueprint, difficulty level, and also the certificates which would be issued to the students appearing in SA2 conducted by school or conducted by board would be same. There will be no difference in the certificates also.
Okay, so Mr. Pankaj, so the main difference between the two board exams is that the checking of the paper will be done by school teachers in case of school conducted exam, and in case of board conducted exam, the papers will be checked by the examiners appointed by board. Rest of the things will remain same, the level of paper, the marking scheme, and the certificates issued, right?
Exactly.
Okay, fine. So moving on to the next question, this is the question asked by most of the students. It means we can say that this is a major query for most of the students of class 10th. Jagmohan Mishra, Nupur, Lakshay, Priya, and many more students ask this question, and the question is, how should a student prepare for SA2 exam? This is the question asked by majority of the students.
Actually, first of all, I would like to tell you, it is very easy to score good marks in SA2. There is nothing to worry about it. Question paper would be simple and based on obviously knowledge of concepts. So no need to worry. The best way to prepare for board exam is to prepare through past year question papers. First of all, students should go through all the chapters using their textbook, NCERT textbooks, and once they have done with the chapters through NCERT textbooks, they should start solving the past year question papers. Solve a question paper when student find any question which he is not able to solve. He should go through that topic in the book, try to understand the concept properly, make it so good that when next time the student find any question from the same topic in exam, he would be able to answer that question very instantly without any problem. So best way is to prepare through past year question papers.
Okay, so it means that student should first prepare his topic, then to check whether he has understood this chapter completely or not, he should solve the questions from the past year papers. If he is able to solve, it means he is ready for that chapter. Otherwise, he should learn the missed concepts once again, right?
Exactly.
Okay, fine. So moving on to the next question. Again, this is the question asked by a few of the students. What is the pattern of science question paper?
In science question paper, there would be both MCQ type questions and descriptive questions. All the multiple choice questions would be of 1 mark each, while subjective questions would be of 2 marks, 3 marks and 5 marks. Obviously, the total marks would be 90 and time which would be allowed would be 3 hours. And the questions would be from basically 4 units. The first unit is chemical substances, nature and behavior. This unit is of 23 marks and it contains 2 chapters, carbon compounds and periodic classification of elements. Next unit is of organic chemistry, which is actually of 30 marks, and it includes next unit is of actually biology and it includes 30 marks. It has 2 chapters, reproduction and heredity and evolution. Next unit is of physics, the name is natural phenomena, and it is of 29 marks for essay 2, and it has 2 chapters which are actually related to each other: light, reflection and refraction, and human eye and colorful world. And the simplest and easiest unit is natural resources. It is of 8 marks and it contains 2 chapters, our environment and management of natural resources. So this is how the questions would be distributed among different chapters and which type of questions would be asked. Is this all?
Okay, fine. So Mr. Pankaj, moving on to the next question. This is regarding the types of questions that are asked in MCQ section. Because students are mostly confused with MCQ and subjective. They prepare for subjective, but they don't know that what type of questions will be asked in MCQ category.
In science, MCQ questions would be based on practical application of the concept. So best way to prepare for these MCQ questions is to prepare through practical manual. It would be very helpful. The practical manual is actually very helpful for preparing the MCQ questions, because most of the questions of science would be based on practicals and the theory of practicals. And let me tell you some questions, some chapters of science from which MCQ questions are basically asked. And the most important chapter by MCQ point of view for science is light, reflection and refraction. You will find number of multiple choice questions from this chapter actually. And next chapter is compounds of carbon. This chapter is also important for MCQ questions. And next is reproduction. So these 3 chapters, compounds of carbon, light and reproductions, are very important for MCQ questions. Most of the MCQ questions are asked in science from these chapters only, and for this the best way is to prepare through practical manual. So it is advised to go through these 3 chapters very carefully through both textbooks and practical manual for answering MCQ questions.
Okay, now taking the next question. Mr. Pankaj, this is the problem that is there again with most of the students. Even my nephew also faces same problem. As we know that all students are not good in all the chapters. So definitely there are few students who would like to understand that what are the scoring chapters in science, so that they can put more focus on those chapters first and leaving the other chapters as a less priority.
Okay, so scoring chapters means those chapters which are actually easy comparatively and they have good weightage in exam also, right?
Right, absolutely correct.
Okay, so the first two chapters which are actually very easy and they are of 8 marks. The first is our environment and next is management of natural resources. These two chapters are good by exam point of view because these are of 8 marks and most of the questions are asked just like value based from these two chapters. And apart from these, our environment and management of natural resources, we have compounds of carbon compounds and periodic classification of elements. These two chapters are of 23 marks and these are easier also. And there is another unit. So first of all, students should focus on our environment and management of natural resources. After that, carbon compounds and periodic classification of elements. On third, he should move to light, reflection and refraction, and also human eye and colorful world. Because as I told you, number of questions would be asked from this chapter in MCQ section also. So light, it is actually a little bit difficult, complex, but once student understand the concept of this chapter, it is very easy to answer the questions from this chapter. Light and also human eye and colorful world. And the last one should be reproduction and heredity and evolution, because these two chapters are of biology and these are slightly lengthy and students has to learn things for this. It has to remember, so it is based on memory power basically. So this should be the order for preparing the science exam.
Okay, moving on to the next question, which has been asked by Krupa Sankri, Nathan Rag, Afra and many more students. As we all know that we prepare all the chapters in the exams, but what happens that when we start the exam, it becomes difficult for some students to understand that how should they approach, which questions should they attempt first, which questions should they attempt last. So question is, what is the order in which one should answer questions in exam and how to manage time, which is most important?
Okay, so time management on basis of the, I would like to inform every student that 15 minutes would be provided for the students to just read the entire question paper. So utilize that 15 minutes, read all the chapters, all the questions and decide that which one you are going to do first.
Oh,
so utilize those.
That's a good thing.
Exactly.
I remember that when we appeared for board exam in the past, that then this type of, I think, relaxation was not there.
Exactly, this is the benefit. So students must utilize that properly.
Okay, so 15 minutes will be given before beginning of exam to the students for reading the question paper, so that they can see that what type of questions are there, and accordingly they can plan the things that which questions will they appear first, right?
Exactly.
Oh.
And after that, no doubt, one would always start answering the questions in exam from that question about which he or she is most confident. But still there are some points which if followed would be very helpful in time management and thus would help in improvement of the performance. And those points are, it is never advised to do MCQ questions or 1 mark question in very start, because generally it is found that these questions have some hidden tricks in them and thus they may consume much time. So it is advised to avoid answering these questions in very starting. After that, start exam with 3 and 5 marks questions. First answer 3 marks questions and then move to 5 marks questions, followed by 2 marks questions, and finally in the end do 1 marks questions and MCQ. So never start your answering from 1 mark questions and 5 marks questions. Do 2 and 3 in starting, then move to 5 and then do 1.
Yeah, because I think that by the time you complete your paper and in last 30 minutes, student becomes habitual of getting the answers quickly. So at that time, in last 30 minutes, they should focus on 1 marks question, because these can be answered easily, right?
Exactly. And one most important thing, do not spend too much time on a particular question. If you don't know the answer, or you are not able to just find out the answer at that time, just move to next one.
So, according to you, what should be the time that a student should spend on thinking for answer? Is it 1 minute, less than 1 minute, or more than 1 minute?
It depends on the marks for question. Actually, if it is of 1 marks, obviously the answer would be in 1 word, so it should be 1 minute hardly. For 2 marks questions, it may be 2 or 3 minutes. For 5, definitely it would take longer time, about 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So it would depend on the mark of the question.
Okay, so means more the marks, more you can think for the answer to the question. But the main punchline is that do not spend more time on any one single question, right?
Exactly. And one more thing, that if there are some part of a particular question, part A, part B, part C, then try to answer them all at a place. Do not answer that in such a way that part A of the first question is done on the first chapter and part B of the second question is done on the 5th chapter or so 5th page. So do all these at particular page together.
So you mean to say that if a question has 3 parts, A, B and C, student should answer all the 3 parts on same page, not like part A on first page and part B on some other page, right?
Exactly.
And what let us suppose if out of 3 parts A, B and C, students know answer to A and B, but they don't know answer to C part. How should they manage that time?
In that case, students should leave space for that question and just move to the next question.
Okay.
Leave empty space if you don't know the answer.
Okay, so you mean to say that student should answer part A, then part B, and for part C where he is not sure, he should not spend much time, but he should leave some space, because at the end of the paper, if he get answers to that, then he can write the answer in that blank space, right?
Exactly.
Okay, fine. So these were the questions mostly asked for science subject. Now taking our this discussion to mathematics, another subject which is most important and most scoring, but most of the students have fear in this subject. They don't know, they think that mathematics is very difficult. So moving on to the mathematics, how one should prepare for mathematics?
First of all, I would like to tell everyone that there is nothing to worry about mathematics, because there is an advantage in mathematics that if you start a question and you don't complete it, you can, if you do only 2 or 3 steps and then leave because you don't know how to do it further, then even you'll get the answer, because or you'll get the marks, because marks in mathematics are given on steps. So start the question, put the formulas, do some calculation, you'll get marks. So never leave any question untouched. Attempt all of them and do whatever you know in that. And if you want to prepare for mathematics, practice is the only solution. Practice is the only way to score good marks in mathematics. Go through textbook, solve all the questions given there. After that, try to solve previous year question papers. More question paper you will solve before exam, more confidence you will get, which will be helpful for you in exam.
Okay. So the next question for the same subject, mathematics, is what is the pattern of the question paper of mathematics? Is there any defined pattern, or can any question come from any chapter?
Just like science, mathematics question paper would also consist of both multiple choice questions and descriptive questions. Obviously, multiple choice questions would be of 1 mark each, while descriptive questions would be of 2, 3 and 4 mark. Algebra is the most scoring chapter actually. It is of 23 marks and it contains 2 parts, quadratic equation and arithmetic progression. So 23 questions of 23 marks would be asked from this unit, algebra. Next, geometry is of 17 marks, which consists of circles and constructions. Next, Trigonometry is of 8 marks, which includes height and distances. Then probability is also of 8 marks. Then lines consist of 11 marks. And then in the end, mensuration is of 23 marks, and it includes areas related to circle and surface areas and volume. So this is how marks would be distributed among different units.
I'm sure that students will get benefit from this marking scheme. So now the next question is, as you have informed us the marking scheme of the chapters, can you help us in giving this information that what are the scoring chapters of mathematics?
First of all, algebra. It is of 23 marks, and it consists of quadratic equation and arithmetic progression. So have a good command on algebra first. After that, lines are of 18 marks, which lines are of 11 marks, which is actually very easy to score. So first is the 2 chapters of algebra, then move to lines, and after that circles and constructions are also of 17 marks. So algebra, circles and construction, that means geometry and lines. The chapters which are slightly difficult are probability. It is of 8 marks, but it is very confusing. And next is surface area and volumes, or areas related to circle, that is mensuration. It is of 23 marks, but it is also slightly confusing. So in exam also, if you see the questions of probability or mensuration, do these in the end. Start with lines, quadratic equation, arithmetic progression and circles.
So as you are saying that first select this chapter and then followed by this chapter, in board exams, is it allowed to the student to change the order of questions? Like first of all he is answering question number 1, then question number 5, and then question number 10. Is this allowed?
Yeah, there is no problem. It totally depends on the student. Whatever he want to do first, he can do that first. But it is advised to do all the sections of a question at once.
Okay.
It is just advice, not a compulsion also.
Right. So it means order of questions can be any, but in one question, if there are several parts, then he has to answer all the several parts on same page, right?
No, it is just a suggestion from my side. It is not also necessary. He can do split parts also, but it is advice from my side to do all the portions, all the parts at once.
Okay, fine. So moving on to the next question asked by Afra, how to solve tough math problems that are from outside textbook. Before you answer this question, my first question is it possible that questions may come from outside textbook also, and if yes, then how to solve that?
Actually, there's nothing is fixed that questions would be asked from a textbook only. Yes, the questions would be based on the syllabus. They would be based on the type of questions which are given in NCERT textbook, but they may be from outside also, and nothing to worry about that. They just change the numbers and the way of presenting the question, but basically the question is based on the type of questions which are already given in NCERT textbook. So nothing to worry about it. And if one want to get master on those questions which are asked from outside the textbook, then again practice is required. Practice. If a student is clear about concepts, he know how to approach a question, and he know everything about the question, there is nothing to worry. He can always solve whether it is from textbook or it is out of the textbook.
Okay, so in short we can say that in mathematics, nothing to worry, no need to fear. To score good marks in mathematics, students should practice more and more questions. He should solve as many sample papers as possible, right?
Exactly.
Okay, fine. So moving on to a next question asked by students Amal and Jaspreet and many more. Though it's a question that everyone will have in mind, but are there any hot questions asked in SA2 board exams? So our users would like to understand what exactly these hot questions mean and how to solve those hot questions.
Actually, hot questions are high order thinking questions, And nothing to worry about these also, because these are just questions which are based on application of the concept. Okay, I would like to give an example of the question so that things will become clear to you. For example, let's take a question of carbon and compounds. The question is, a compound works well with hard water. It is used for making shampoos and products for cleaning clothes. So what we are able to understand so far, that either it is talking about detergents or soaps. So next is, A is not 100% biodegradable, and it causes water pollution. So we know that detergents are not biodegradable and they cause water pollution. That means A is a cleansing agent which is used for making shampoo, and it is not biodegradable. That means it is detergent. And B is another compound which does not work well with hard water. That means it is a soap molecule, and it is 100% biodegradable, and it does not create water pollution. So this is a question which is actually based on the application of concepts, and this type of questions are called hot questions, high order thinking questions. So nothing to worry about it. If you know the concepts, you can easily answer them. In fact, it is interesting to answer them.
Okay, so hot means high order thinking.
Thinking.
Okay,
yes.
High order thinking question. So students, those who are not aware of this, the meaning of this hot question, hot means high order thinking questions, and I'm sure that Mr. Pankaj has explained it in a better way with the help of an example. So now no need to worry about hot questions also, right? Moving on to the next question, again question asked by many of students, though we can't take the name of all of students, but I will definitely would like to mention few of the names, like Haris Ahmad, Pranav, and Shreyasi, Saifuddin, and many more. They would like to know that how to know how long an answer should be. Like if it is a 2 marks question, if it is a 5 marks question, what should be the length of the answer?
Exactly. The length of questions will depend on the mark of the question.
Okay.
So if there is a 2 marks question, then it is to be answered in about 30 words. For 1 mark question, it would be answered in 1 word or 1 sentence. 2 marks question would be answered in about 30 words. 3 marks questions should be answered in about 50 words or so, at least 50 words actually. And 5 marks questions or 4 marks questions should be answered in at least 70 words. So these are the minimum limits. It can be 80, it can be 19, but it must be 70 at least.
Okay, so let's repeat this information for the students. 2 marks question, 30 words, right?
Exactly.
3 marks question, 50 words.
50 words.
And 5 marks question, 70 words. And these are the minimum word limit that a student should follow to write the answer, right?
But actually, most of the time, students confuse about 1 mark questions. They write answer in 2 or 3 paragraph. Actually, it has been seen, or they answer in full paragraph. So it is advised that you have to answer a 1 mark question in just 1 word or 1 sentence. Do not waste too much time on this. It carries only 1 mark, so should be answered in 1 word or 1 sentence only.
Okay, fine. So now moving on to the next question, how to get idea about the expected questions. Are there any questions that the students may expect in advance so that they can prepare those thoroughly and they can score good marks?
Actually, it would be advised to the students that never assume anything about examination. The best way to get an idea about topics, not questions, you can get idea about important topics from which a number of time questions are asked, and it would be done by solving previous year questions. When you will solve 5 or 10 or so question paper, you will find that questions are repeated, and there are only 5 or 6 topics from which every year questions are asked. So that's why I am from very starting suggesting to solve previous year question papers.
So it means the whole crux of the story is that students who are appearing for board exams, they must solve past year papers without fail, right? Past year papers are most important than learning the chapters day and night and cramming the things again and again. So even if they prepare for topics, they cram everything. If they don't do the past year papers, it means they are not fully prepared for exams, right?
Exactly. So they can test that how much they are prepared by previous year papers and sample papers.
But Mr. Pankaj, I saw a few of the past year papers in the market that are solved past year papers. So what happens when student read the question, he read the answer too? So how should he handle this situation?
Actually, there is no benefit of reading questions actually. The best way is to try, they should try to solve the question paper by themselves. If they do not know that what is answer of a particular question, they do not know the answer, in that case, they should go through their books, that particular topic, and they should try to understand that topic so correctly and so effectively that next time whenever they will find any question from that topic, they would be able to answer that. So there is no benefit to see the solved questions. It is just like remembering questions, which is useless for science and mathematics. So they should try to solve question paper and not to read them.
Okay, so it means that the technique that students should follow for preparing board exams is, first of all, understand the chapter clearly from the textbook, prepare the chapter thoroughly from the textbook, then they should start practicing past year papers. Under past year papers, we have two types of paper. One are solved papers, and at the end of the book, we get some unsolved sample papers also. So from solved sample papers, they should check their knowledge, subject knowledge, whether they are getting the answers, they know the answers to the questions or not. If they find that there is something missing, then they should learn the concept again, they should go through with the concept again, and once they solve the solved papers, then they should move on to unsolved papers also, so that they can try to answer those unsolved questions, and they can actually check that whether they are fully prepared for exams or not, right?
Exactly.
And I think my advice to students will be that if they still want to do more and more practice, they can tell their parents, their friends to prepare a question paper from those past year papers, and then they can attempt those unsolved questions, and then they can check whether now they are fully prepared for exams or not, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, now Mr. Pankaj, we have a few students online also who have posted so many questions in the chat. I will be taking a few of the questions in this webinar, and definitely they are looking for these answers. So there is one student, Devishi, who is asking that is there any negative marking also in the English exam if they write the answer too lengthy? Let us suppose, if as you said that for 5 marks question there is a minimum 70 words character limit, and if they write lengthy answer, say of 100 words, 200 words, will there be any negative marking?
There is no negative marking for wrong answer or long answer also. There is no such thing. Marks are never cut. We never cut, CBSE board never cut mark of the students. So there is no negative marking in English or any other subject also. There is no negative marking.
Okay, so there is one more student who is asking, will choosing school exam be a problem if I intend to change my school after 10th? He wants to change his school after 10th, so will choosing school exam be a problem instead of board
there will
exam?
not be any problem if the new school is also from CBSE system only. So there is no problem if he want to move from one school which is of CBSE to another school which is of CBSE. The problem is when he want to switch the board, he want to go from CBSE to ICSE board or any state board, then there would be a problem.
Okay, and there is one more question, as throughout this webinar we are putting emphasis on solving past year papers. So one of the student, Anurag, is asking, where can he find past year papers?
Past year papers are available on various websites, and also it is available on our website, askIITians.com.
Okay, so past year papers are available on askIITians.com also. So students need not to go to any market. They can easily get these papers from here also, is it?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, okay, that's a good news for all the students who are coming for who are appearing for board exams this year. Past year papers are available free of cost on askIITians.com. They simply need to visit askIITians.com. There under class 10th they can see past year papers as well as sample papers. They can download those papers for free. There is no charge, and they can prepare themselves for their board exams. Okay, now there is one question, but it is related to 12th. So Manu, this webinar is strictly dedicated to class 10th students. So we will be conducting one more webinar soon for class 12th students also, and for other topics. So at that time we will be taking this question, though you can post this question for free on discussion board of askIITians.com. Let me tell all of you, on askIITians.com there is a discussion board where students can post their questions for free, and experts at askIITians will answer their query in 24 to 48 hours time. Or if they want, they can mail their queries on marketing@askIITians.com or forum@askIITians.com. We assure you that we will reply to your answers in 48 hours time. Okay, taking another question from Devishi, which extra books do you recommend for science and maths?
NCERT textbooks are actually best for the preparation of CBSE board. So actually there are only few days left, so I will not advise to go through any other book. It's best to go through textbooks, NCERT textbooks, and also past year papers. It's enough for them right now.
Okay, fine. So again there is one more question from Harris. How to present our answers in the board exam?
Okay, just I told you in starting that what should be the length of question. If 20 marks, if it is of 2 marks, it should be of 30 words. If it is of 4 marks or 5 marks, it should be of 70 words. And if it is of 1 mark, it can be answered in 1 word also. So if we talk about presentation, the answer should be to the point. It should be neat and clean. It should be to the point. And the most important thing is student should attempt the answer, attempt the question, never leave any question unattempted.
Okay, so there is no negative marking for wrong answers in the board exams. So student should attempt all the questions, right?
Yes.
Okay, now there is one more question. Are drawing diagrams necessary even when the question doesn't require it?
It is always very helpful to draw the diagrams, because if you are answering question of biology and if you draw the diagram, teacher at least know, the person who is checking your answer sheet, who at least know that student know what is the answer exactly. Maybe he is not writing that properly, but he is representing the answer by diagram correctly. That means he knows the answer and you will get the marks for that. So if you know how to draw the diagram, you should draw it.
Okay, there is one more question. Can a student request the CBSE board to send a copy of his answer sheet? Is it allowed?
I think it is allowed, but he can. The student get more information about this on CBSE website itself.
Okay, so students should look for this information on CBSE website. Though according to you, I think chances are there student may get his a copy of answer sheet by paying some fee, I think. Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
It is so.
But students, let me tell you, we are not 100% sure to this answer, because rules change frequently. So it all depends whether CBSE is providing answer copies to the students or not. Okay, so you need to check once on CBSE website for this. Okay, any other question, students? How to present answers in mathematics exam?
Answers of mathematics should be in stepwise manner. Stepwise means answer must contain, you should write all the values given in the question. You should write the correct property which you are using to solve that question. You should go through stepwise manner, and you should write the answer also separately in the end of the question. So for answering mathematics questions, you should follow stepwise approach. So answer that stepwise, you will get full marks. If you skip any step, marks would be deducted.
Okay, okay, Mr. Pankaj, as we all know that every student would like to score maximum marks in the question, right? So there is a very good question which I will take in this discussion. The question is, what are the expectations of the examiners to award full marks in the question? What they expect?
First expectation is based on word length. First of all, word length is decided for every mark. We discussed that. Apart from that, the answer should be to the point. If I'm asking about properties of, let's say, hydrocarbons, then student is writing everything about carbon, everything about hydrogen, but he is not using the word hydrocarbon or the properties of hydrocarbon. So it should be to the point also. It should be of good word length, but should be to the point answer, so that the answer may marks may be provided to the answer.
Okay, so it means that the answer must meet the minimum word limit and it should be to the point, and whatever the question is asking, students should focus on that part only and not to write the whole story, right?
Exactly.
Okay, there is one more question. Should we write with ink pen or ball pen? Because teachers in the school are saying only to use ball pen. What is your suggestion to students?
I think there is no such criteria. It depends on the student. Whatever he feels good, he can use that. But it's good to use ballpoint pen because they are more more dependable. We can depend on them more as compared to gel point pens. So it's good to use ballpoint pens.
Right, but students, the suggestion is to use ball pen, but yes, at the same point of time, you must be ready to use that pen only with which you are practicing. So it should not be a very new pen in the exam. Some students have misconception that if we will be using a brand new pen in the exam, then we will get good writing, we will get good marks, and so this misconception should not be there. They should use that ball pen which they are using in practice, because the tip of the pen will come in flow, and your handwriting your hand will be adjustable according to the pen, and you should use that pen only in the exams. Okay. So we have some more questions, Mr. Pankaj, so I will be taking few more questions before we conclude this webinar. Okay, one of the student is asking that it happens sometimes that a question is of 5 marks, but the answer that is relevant to that question is has very little content. So what should they do in that particular situation?
That's a good question actually. Let's take the same example of hydrocarbons. If a teacher, there is a question that explain all the properties of hydrocarbons or what are, okay. So we will start with carbon. If it is of 5 marks, we will start with carbon. What is carbon? Its tetravalency. Then what is hydrogen? Why carbon and hydrogen form compounds? And after that we can write that what are hydrocarbons, how many hydrocarbons are there, then properties of hydrocarbons, where they are used. So in this way the length of answer can be increased, but the main answer should be there. The main answer is properties of hydrocarbons, so it should be there. I can write some extra about it also.
Okay, there is one more question. Can we use black pen for side headings, or is it compulsory to use blue ball pen only?
A student can use a black pen also. He can use different pens for writing headings and subheading, but actually it will consume time, so no need to do that.
Yeah.
Write clearly, write with gap.
Because changing the pen will take more time, right? Changing the pen from blue to black and then black to blue for definitely will consume more time. So until unless you are habitual of changing the pens without wasting even more than 1 second, then I think you should follow this approach. Otherwise, never take risk in the board exams, is it?
Exactly, because time is very limited.
Yes, time is limited. So there is one more student who is asking that she knows how to write the answers in mathematics, but the problem with her is that she writes too much, and because of that sometimes she couldn't complete the all the questions in the exam. So what approach should she follow?
Exactly, we discussed in starting that there is a word limit And in mathematics also, I don't think that in mathematics there is nothing like a long answer, because a question starts and at the answer it finishes. So in mathematics there should not be any such problem, but in more other subjects like social science or English or just like other science or languages, she should follow word limits. For 2 marks, 30 words. For 5 marks, 70 words. For 1 mark, 1 sentence.
Okay, so the main point is that first of all, students should keep in mind the word limit, and then accordingly he or she should write the answer for the marks allotted to the question, right?
Exactly.
Okay, now there is one more question. Sanskar, we have already answered your question. I will repeat the answer for you. Is there a negative marking for exceeding the word limit? No, there is no negative marking in board exams, so you are safe. But if you will exceed the word limit, if you will write more and more, you will be spending more time than required on that question. So try to be specific, try to be to the point, so that you can spend more time on rest of the questions. And if at the end you will finish the paper on time, you will get a time to revise the paper again, right? Okay, but we have a new question from these students. Can we write something on the question paper? Is it allowed?
It is not allowed actually in board exams. You should not write anything on the question paper, and also you should not write anything in your answer sheet. There is a extra page provided on the answer sheet where you have to write your details. Nothing should be written inside the answer sheets. Nothing should be written on question paper other than your roll number.
So do not write anything on the question paper. It's an advice, because if you will write something on the question paper, the examiner may stop you from completing your exam, because this is a case of cheating. Because examiner doesn't know that how did that answer got written on the paper. You may have helped, you may have taken help from other students. So do not write anything on the question paper. On answer sheet also, you will get a rough sheet at the end of the answer booklet, where you can solve the questions, where you can do rough calculations. Do not do any rough calculations on the main pages of answer sheet. Okay, now next question is, can we mark attempted questions on the question paper itself, not answer? Okay, so question is that, let us suppose I have answered question number 1, I have answered question number 2. Can we put a tick mark on question 1 and question 2 on the question paper? Just a tick mark, so that we can make sure that we have answered this question and we do not spend time on this question again. Is it possible?
Yeah, that's okay. You can put a tick mark, but we have just discussed that it is not advised to write anything on the question paper. But putting tick is okay. That's okay.
Yeah, because most of the students get confused that whether they have attempted question 1 or 2. For that they have to look at the past sheets to check. So definitely this will waste time. So I think putting a small tick mark on the question paper itself should not create any problem to the examiners. Is it?
Yeah, that is okay.
Okay, fine. So another simple question, though very important. Should we tie the paper with 2 knots or 1? Definitely every student uses supplement sheets. So whether they should tie the paper with 2 knots or 1?
It should be with 2 knots actually, because there is possibility that 1 knot may be get open. So it's good to use 2 or 3 knots.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to tie your paper with 2 or more than 2 knots, maybe 3 knots, so that you can put yourself on the safer side, so that when the examiner who is going to check your paper must get all the sheets that you answer. Okay, we have another question. In social and English, should we give an intro to the answer or not?
In English and social science, definitely the answers are lengthier as compared to science. So you should give proper answer, plus with introduction is actually a good option to do. Give introductions, give headings, give points, make your answer presentable, and that only you'll get good marks.
Right, Devishi, definitely if your teacher is suggesting you, it's a very good suggestion given by your teacher. Give the introduction, then write the main part of the answer, and then give the conclusion. It will be easy for the examiner also to understand that you know the concept, and he will spend less time on that question and he will award full marks to you. Let me give you one let me tell you one fact, that the better your presentation will be, the more marks you will get. Do not allow the examiner to spend more time on your paper by writing here or there. Write all the things systematically so that examiner should not spend more time on your paper, and the less time he will spend on your paper, the more marks you will get. Okay. So I think we have one more question before we conclude this webinar, as we are running out of time, and I can understand that you have to go for your lectures and your students are waiting for you. One more question, that can we staple the question paper? Is the stapler allowed?
That's okay. Stapler, you cannot carry anything with you in the examination hall other than your pen and pencil. So there is no need to staple actually. It's okay.
So it means that student cannot carry his own stapler with him inside the school premises, but if the school teachers are providing them stapler, then they can staple it also, right?
Exactly.
Okay, fine. So no stapler and nothing. You need not to carry anything with you in the paper except your examination roll number. I think Mr. Pankaj has something to say.
Actually, if student want to ask that if he should staple his question paper with answer sheet, then the answer is no. There is no need to staple your question paper with answer sheet actually.
Okay, so do not staple your question paper with your answer sheet. Question paper, you can take the question paper with you at home, yeah, so that you can discuss this question paper with your teachers, with your brother, sister, with whom you are studying, who is helping you in your studies. So question paper is for you, answer sheet is for examiner. Do not staple question paper and answer sheet. Okay. Okay, though we have answered this question, Harris, once again I would like to ask this question from Mr. Pankaj. Teacher suggested to present our paper in the same order of question paper. Is it necessary?
Sorry, would you please pardon?
His teacher suggested to answer the questions in the same order as it is appearing in the question paper. Is it necessary?
No, it is not at all necessary. It depends on the student. Whatever he want to do first, he should do first. In fact, the questions on which student has most confident, he should do that first. There is no compulsion to do the questions, the answers in a particular order. There is no such compulsion for the student.
Okay, so there is no compulsion, and Harris, you answered your question yourself. Your teacher suggested only, it's not a compulsory thing. Okay, yes, there is one more good question. Will all the students get same set of question paper, or will they have different sets?
There are actually they have 4 different set of question papers which are circulated among students. There are 4 different sets.
Okay, so there will be 4 different sets. It means no 2 students will get the same question paper, and the order of the questions will be different in the 2 sets, though all the questions I think are not different. There are few questions that will be different and the order of questions will be different, right? Okay, fine. So
exactly, the order will be different.
So there is one last question. We will be taking this as the last question of the webinar. Will the question paper be exactly same for board exam and school exam?
No, actually the pattern would be same, syllabus would be same, but question paper would be different.
Okay, so the syllabus will be same, pattern will be same, but the question paper will not be exactly same. There might be some changes in the questions and the order of questions. So, but syllabus will remain same, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's all for this webinar. Thank you very much, students. I'm sure that you must have heard of all the suggestions and the tips and tricks given by Mr. Pankaj. Still, if you missed it, if you won't be able to, if you couldn't hear some part of the webinar, we will be uploading the recording of this webinar on our website by Tuesday, so that you can view the recording of the webinar, you can listen to the questions and the answers of this webinar, and you can update your knowledge. Thank you very much for all of you. And yes, if you have more questions on your subjects, then you can post it for free on discussion board of askIITians.com, or you can mail these questions on marketing@askIITians.com or forum@askIITians.com. Thank you very much, Mr. Pankaj, for giving your valuable time for students who are preparing for board exams, class 10th for the first time, and definitely your valuable suggestions will make this paper easier for them. That's all for this webinar. We will be conducting more webinars from time to time. Maybe the next webinar might be for class 12 students, or maybe some other topics on misconceptions, or we will keep on updating you with the webinars that we will be conducting in coming period. Thank you very much to all of you for giving your valuable time. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.